want to welcome you all to The Gateway.
The Gateway is a video podcast directed and hosted by staff members of Somerset Community College's student newspaper, The Bridge.
This is The Gateway.
Hello and welcome to SCC's The Gateway. My name is Stacy Pauls. This is one of 3 episodes where we'll be interviewing students in Gen 140, Development of Leadership class. This course is taught by Dr. Amanda Waterstrat and Kimberly Toby. It presents concepts of leadership and group dynamics and also provides opportunities for students to develop leadership skills and potential. This episode will feature Group 3 of the class, and these students who are members of SCC's Honors Program are Elizabeth Shanks, Amber Henson, Destiny Sanchez, and Samuel Lake. In this discussion, the students will be describing their experience in the SCC Honors Program. Elizabeth, we'll get started with you. The SCC's Honors Program began in the fall of 2019, and you were in the first cohort of students in the program, and you are finishing this semester. What did you learn about the program, and why did you decide to apply?
I had a high school teacher that actually convinced me to apply, and this program has just given me many opportunities, and the friendships that we've made during this, I'm just so thankful for everything the program has done for me.
What about you, Amber? What did you learn about the program, and why did you apply?
I actually just happened to come across an advertisement for the program on Somerset's website as I was messing around with it, trying to get used to it for my classes starting in the fall. And I decided to apply because I just thought it'd be very interesting, and I thought I could learn a lot from it.
Destiny, same question. What did you learn about the program, and why did you apply?
I learned about the program through a program I was actually involved with in high school called the Upward Bound program. The lady over at the time mentioned it to me because I was aware I was going to SCC and kind of convinced me to join.
And what about you, Samuel?
I actually learned about it from a family member of mine who's in the admissions office. We were just contacting different people about getting classes scheduled and all of that. And so she told me about it just because she figured that it'd be something I'd be interested in. So I looked a little bit further into it, got on the website, learned about the requirements, and knew immediately it was something I'd like to do. And I knew that it would be good for me to try to surround myself with people who had a motivation and a level of interest, in the fields that I was in as well. I could just surround myself with people who were as committed and as dedicated, to the work and the whole, experience at school as I was.
Oh, very good. Samuel, with several research projects that are required throughout the program, and you worked with different faculty members on each of these projects, what did you study and what was the most interesting part?
It was all pretty much some field of science. There was a lot of crossover between physics and chemistry, which of course those were the classes I was taking at the time. And so I used my professors in each of those classes each semester, just based on whichever one was the most predominant subject that I'd be covering. But for each presentation, there were just unbelievable little concepts, pieces of information, things that I'd never even really heard about before. And honestly, because a lot of the things that I picked to study were so broad, I got just this influx of research that I really, really had to narrow down. So, the good thing was that I had more than enough to fill out the time that I was given. And I actually had to struggle to really compress it down to not kind of take too much time for everybody else that was presenting. But it was a great experience. I enjoyed every single presentation I did, whether it was in person or recorded or a PowerPoint or a paper. It was all great.
Do you care to elaborate on what one of your presentations was?
One of them was the study of the mathematical probabilities of some of the assumptions that are made by the modern scientific community. A lot of them had to do with the occurrences of star formation, the whole Big Bang theory, all the math behind that, and tying together a lot of the theory in quantum physics that comes up with how likely it is for such events that would be necessary for those kind of theories to take place for the universe's creation, I guess you could say, to actually take place. And there's a lot of statistics that takes place there. There's a lot of standard deviations, I guess you could say. There's a lot of high-level math that goes into actually saying how likely it would be for this to take place. And then you can apply that with everything else. You can apply it with the whole process of evolution, biological systems, all of that. It all applies.
Oh, nice. Elizabeth, what about you? What did you study and what was the most interesting part?
My projects cover a lot of bases. I started with mental health, and then I went to personal growth, finances mainly, and then my most recent project is on surgical technology in the field.
How about you, Amber? What did you study and what was your most interesting part?
I studied the crime scene investigator career in stress. I think just researching that was very interesting. I didn't know that a lot of people in that career face stress and depression and suicidal thoughts. Some of the research that I did, it explained that a lot of them felt very overwhelmed because of the amount of stuff in people's houses. Like if there was a murder or something, that they would have to just check every single thing. And I found that very interesting.
Oh, that is very interesting. How about you, Destiny? What did you study and what was your most interesting part?
I did mainly science-related topics, so my last projects were about Mars and genetic engineering, and my most recent project was about tree coring and how we can use that to tell a little bit about the climate change that we're experiencing now.
Thanks, Destiny. Now, let me ask you, do you think it was beneficial for college students to give presentations like this? And what did you learn from the experience?
What I would say was most beneficial, I guess, would be just learning about all these different topics. I would say learning about each of them and how, especially my last one about climate change and how important that is to us.
And what about you, Samuel? Do you think it's beneficial for college students to give presentations like this? And what did you learn from the experience?
Absolutely. It's really encouraging when you can come into a room with people that you've been doing this research, maybe separately for the majority of a semester, and actually be required to stand up in front of all of them, even though, it might be something you're not necessarily accustomed to. I, for one, have never done much public speaking. I never gave many oral reports in high school. So it was something I wasn't very comfortable with. But the longer that we went on, the more of them we did, you realize when you surround yourself with people that are all in the same situation that you are, they're all vying for you, they're all rooting for you because they all understand what you're doing, and they can relate to that. And especially when you set yourself up with a lot of people who are in the scientific community or in the engineering community, they can understand what you're saying. They can come to these conclusions for themselves. And so it's nice to just have all of the other people that you're associating with build with you, and it really, really helps you to just kind of relax and take a deep breath and realize, hey, we're all pursuing the same goal here.
Absolutely. We're all in the same boat and trying to achieve the same goals. Amber, the honors program also offers enrichment experiences like attending special events. Did you participate in any enrichment events? And if so, which ones and what was that like?
I did. We took a trip to the University of Louisville last year, and it was a statewide honor symposium. So we got to sit through a lot of presentations from different schools. I learned a lot through that. There were several different topics, and I just really enjoyed the trip.
Now let me ask, if you were talking to high school students who are considering applying for the honors program, what would you tell that person? And Amber, we will start with you.
I would highly suggest this program to any high school students. It helped me grow as a person. It helped me learn how to be more of a leader. And I just met some really great people, and it was just a wonderful experience.
What about you, Destiny? What would you tell an upcoming high schooler about the program?
I would say to go ahead and apply and do it, because I was really nervous at first to consider doing it, but I was taught into it by Stephanie at the Upward Bound program to go ahead and try it and see how it went.
How about you, Samuel? What would you say to an upcoming high schooler?
I tell them to go for it for a couple of reasons. First of all, it's always good, for me at least, to have some structure behind you where you are holding yourself to a higher academic standard, trying to maintain, a GPA, complete these classes, have a rate, where you're not dropping things or withdrawing just because they start out and they seem kind of daunting. So it's just good to have that, and once again, have a lot of other people you're around who are doing the same thing. And also, it's very easy, especially when you're in a STEM field, any of the medical degrees, any of the science degrees, math degrees, to get really, really overwhelmed with all of your work, especially the first couple of semesters. You're not necessarily used to the whole atmosphere of dealing with, all of the homework that you're not necessarily doing like you would in high school, just right there. You're bringing a lot home with you. It gets up late to the evenings. You're adjusting to that, learning how to manage your time. And it's just nice to have something like this organization, this program, to just kind of take a breath, relax on a weekend, go to an event where you see other students at other universities doing the same thing, who have maybe made it a couple of years farther than you and are still doing the same thing successfully, talking about their experiences. And you look at that and you see, I can do this. We can do this. This will be us in the next couple of years. So it's always nice to have something like this to just encourage you, encourage everybody together, and just have that almost like kind of a social, not necessarily a club, but just the program, just the way it's set up, just people who are all wanting the same thing and are just trying to keep their motivation up and not get scared.
Elizabeth, what would you say that you have learned about leadership from watching your Gen 140 instructors?
Above anything, I would say I learned how to work together. They've worked together in such a great way. They bounce ideas off each other, and they motivate us to have ideas of their own and elaborate on those with each other.
How about you, Destiny? What have you learned from watching your Gen 140 instructors?
I would definitely say I have learned all the different types of things that have to do with leadership, and I have actually applied them myself in the club I'm the president of, so it's been very helpful for me in that sense as well.
And how about you, Amber?
They work very well together. They're very outspoken, and I just think they're wonderful leaders and wonderful role models.
And how about you, Samuel?
Yeah, I agree as well. Dr. Waterstrat's been helping me since the first semester I started school. The way that she just deals with, the program, the way she's dealt with this class, she just makes it very comfortable, very easy to, do the things that they want us to do, all the assignments, all of that. Everything's up, it runs very smoothly. And, you just feel right at home. They're very easy to talk to, very easy to communicate with. They're punctual. Everything, goes, they keep their word. And they just make it very easy for you to ask questions and make the material very easy to understand. And, this has been a very, very informative class. And, it's helped me kind of, and sort of like they were saying in the other groups about your own philosophy. A lot of the stuff we've covered this semester has really helped me to look, within and see some of the ways that I've already applied a lot of this stuff before, and just some of the situations I was in high school, in my church, and even here while I've been at SCC as well. So it's been a great experience, and I'm very fortunate to have them to help me through it.
Samuel, earlier you had mentioned, you read over the criteria to be able to join this class. Can you elaborate on some of those requirements?
Yeah, I believe they started out requiring a 3.0 GPA. Pretty sure it changed to 3.2 after a couple semesters. And just to keep participation, come to as many of the events as possible, the symposiums, mid-semester tours that we took to different campuses, all of that, just as many of those as we could make it to. It was pretty simple. It was straightforward. And they tried to schedule as much as possible around everyone's class schedules, midterm exam dates. Towards the end of the semester, when we were all doing our presentations, they tried to coordinate it where everyone could find one day towards a weekend where they were free, from all the review sessions we were having, especially in the spring and fall of last year after COVID hit. Scheduling got a little difficult, but they just, we're very flexible and everything. So it was made pretty easy to keep up with the requirements. It's not been that difficult. It just takes some time to work on putting these projects together towards the end of the semester, but it's very, very doable.
Oh, great. Thank you. I want to thank our guests and encourage you to watch our podcast of the other two Development of Leadership class discussions. And that's a wrap. Thank you guys for joining us. For more information on SCC's student newspaper, The Bridge, or the Gateway Video Podcast, email us at sccthebridge@yahoo.com or contact one of the course advisors.
This is the Gateway signing out.